we're live. Welcome to Caching in the Northwest, the only podcast with live music.
All right.
Music that we don't have to.
It's royalty free.
That's royalty free. There we go.
All right, I'll put the guitar away. Enough distractions. Besides,
royalty free. We have no drama queens here.
Well, actually, the land monkey is on the show.
I'll just leave that one. I'm not going to even comment there.
Thank you. Awkward.
Awesome. All right, so we got script and everything. We're ready to roll.
We are. And speaking of rolling.
Yeah?
What are we talking about tonight?
Hey. I don't know. I'm too square to roll.
Ba-dum-bum.
That's just the way he rolls.
There you go. Okay. Let's do it. Let's see.
Oh,
Land
you
Monkey.
talked me into it. Why not?
I'm pointing to you. Land Monkey, you right there.
Yeah.
You're going to kick us off?
I am going to kick us off.
After the music plays. Gentlemen, I really enjoyed our 50-minute show last week.
Yeah, let's not do it again, though.
But I thought it was a little long. And not that it dragged at any point, but my goal is to keep them in the 20-minute range. So I'm glad that we have...
If somebody downloads the 50-minute show, play it at triple speed, and you'll be good.
Oh, or play it over 3 days.
Well, okay.
All right. My goal for tonight was 22.7 minutes, so hopefully I can work in there somewhere.
I like it that we're comfortable enough just to keep talking, and this is good. This is what gives the show synergy.
Synergy.
All right. We're synergistic.
As long as our viewers enjoy it, otherwise we're just
exactly
wasting
right,
their time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we have doubled our viewers from last week, so...
That is true. That is true. And we have 4 comments already.
Wow.
I got a web page up that I'll use, and then I'll go back and we'll make sure we get all the comments.
Yep.
So, let me
ready to go.
Record, and I'll play some music.
Music me, baby.
That did not come out right.
Welcome to Caching in the Northwest, the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest. We will talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So rev up the big wheel. It's time to go caching in the Northwest.
Now, in order to talk about bicycle caching, yes, we need to bring in our pedaling primate. Some say he eats bananas just to throw the peels to get an FTF advantage. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Thanks, Bad Cop. And it's all true. Every word of it. In fact, we were out and just a little bit late getting into the show tonight because we were out getting an FTF tonight. So
no way.
Kept the geocaching streak alive with an FTF, and more importantly, got to hang out with a few cachers at Ground Zero and had a great little chat.
Very cool.
You know, those little parties right there at Ground Zero, I think, are the best.
Absolutely.
Very cool. And is this close? How close to 500 is this?
We are on day 491 today.
Oh, wow. It's just around the corner.
Just around the corner.
Wow.
Just around the riverbank?
Okay.
So I did earlier today find a great picture of Witsand bicycle caching, and did post it on Facebook. So Witsand won't see it because he doesn't look at Facebook.
I'm going to have to go over and look at that now, just because you said so.
But Witsand, what do we want to talk about tonight?
Well, speaking of bikes, that's the subject for tonight. We're talking about caching via bike, the kind you pedal and shift gears on, little things there, not the biker with big motors and helmets of sort. But anyway,
You mean like this?
Bicycle caching.
I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike.
That's the ones.
That's the one.
And me without my lighter.
There's an app for that.
Oh, yeah.
Right on. That was awesome.
So, caching via bike. Does anybody have any feedback on caching via bikes?
Before we get into that,
Yeah.
I do want to remind our listener, and maybe I should start saying listeners at this point,
Yeah, there's a few of them, it says on the page there.
a contest going on right now. Yes, it's a Caching in the Northwest logo contest. Now, I know people are working on this beyond Land Monkey's fine work, which, wait a minute, is that a different one? Nope, that's the same one.
No,
Same one.
Beyond his fine work there are other entries, and those entries need to get into us by midnight, July 31st, Pacific Daylight Time. Send those to feedback@cachingnw.com.
.com.
And also, let me just throw some things out there. iTunes finally caught up with us. So our new podcast feed is now properly synced with the iTunes, and everything's working as it should.
Awesome.
Fantastic. So did I hear correctly, the bad cop, that we actually have received some entries?
I know of people working on them. I haven't yet received an entry. Oh, I have. I've received your entry,
Okay.
Mr. Land
I
Monkey.
wasn't
So
counting
right
that.
now, it's a landslide for the Land Monkeys. You see how you did that?
Please don't let it be the Land Monkey entry.
I do have the official entry for the monkeys.
Which is a joke, so please, people, real entries. All right. So, feedback. I put out a call on the Land Monkey Facebook page this morning, and I got the following feedback from Brelang. He said, on the topic of tips and tricks for bike caching, number one, make sure your bike is tuned up and or know how to make emergency repairs. You wouldn't want to down miles from your car. And his number two is to look into handlebar mount for your GPSR. Bright Blades echoed and supported that feedback, and I think that's a great segue into a whole bunch of the stuff we want to talk about. Brelang, you hit the nail on the head for where we're going tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what are some of the best practices that you fellows do to keep your bike in good operating order?
Well, it goes to say, without saying, they keep it in good working order. Just like if you're caching by car, you want your car to be in good working order, because it's always nice to go caching, and it's nice to be able to come back home and log your finds and charge your GPSR. So 5 quick tips for bicycle maintenance. Really can boil down to almost just one, but lube. Clean and lubricate your chain, lubricate all the moving parts, your brakes, your derailleurs. Don't lube your brake pads. That would be bad.
Does it count as a moving part?
Lube the appropriate parts of the brake systems, like the cables and levers and that kind of thing. The bottom bracket cable guide, inspect and adjust those brake pads to make sure that you didn't spill any lube on the brake pads, and check the pressure in your tires. So blow it up, lube it up, and hit the road. How about that?
Awesome. Love it.
Lube it up. Yeah. Just make sure you do those in the right order and to the right places.
Hey, this is a family show, so
Blow it up, lube it up, and tune it up.
that's right.
Tighten it up.
right.
There we go.
There you go. Tighten it up. Let's tighten up the show. Brelang brought up a good point about getting handlebar mounts for your geocaching gear. Now, Wits End, we are talking bicycle handlebars, not handlebar mustaches.
And is there a problem with handlebar mustaches? I mean, no proper gentleman would be without his handlebar mustache.
That's true if you lived in the 1800s.
Oh,
However,
wow.
Breerlang is right. Having handlebar mounts for your gear is really nice. Now, I have a mount for my GPS, and I'm looking for a good yet generic phone mount. I don't necessarily need external battery power, but I do want full weather protection.
Yeah, that's always important, because around the Northwest, we have weather. And whether, even if you're not caching, if you're just out bicycling, a smartphone mount makes a whole lot of sense, because there's some great apps out there that will track your distance and your speed. There's even apps out there that will react with geofences so that you can get to certain places and have your phone do certain things for you. So it's just nice to have it right there on the handlebars. Keep it safe. It's I don't know if it's quite as dangerous as texting and driving, but trying to use a smartphone handheld while you're on a bicycle just isn't a great idea.
No, for sure. And if you're looking for those handlebar mounts, I know REI and up in Canada, Mountain Equipment Co-op, MEC, both carry quite a range of those products. In fact, we picked up one recently, specifically not for the smartphone, but for our Garmin, specifically for our Garmin GPS, and it's a universal for Garmin products. It handles almost all of them.
And if you're budget conscious, swing by the Wits End Cash Central here, and I've got a roll of duct tape. I'll fix you right up.
I like zip ties personally.
That works great too.
Yeah, duct tape's
I tend to use
more
both.
flexible.
It's kind of like the belt and suspenders approach.
Yeah, there you go.
Zip ties and duct tape.
Zip ties are my belt.
I know that.
All right, so back on track.
help, Land Monkey, help.
We've done, as Land Monkeys, we've done a number of bicycle geocaching trails, and they can range from like fishing trails to dikes to Forest Service roads to paved roads. It really depends on what you're comfortable riding on and where you're allowed to ride, because there are some trails where bikes aren't allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
And in all that riding, one of the main things we've learned is to make sure you have comfy bike seats. But other than that, we also have made sure every spring that we get our bikes in for a tune-up, professionally done, right before bike caching season, duck season, rabbit season, bike caching season. And before every trip, we make sure we just do a quick go through, as Wits End explained earlier, just make sure that everything's in working order on the bike.
You know, my brother was down here or up here, I should say, just last week, and he brought his bike with him, so I got mine tuned up, and off we went riding, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, we spent a lot of time doing the lube. You got to spend a lot of time making sure you lubricate everything you need to. Now, when we say bike caching, the first thing that pops into my mind is the Ape event that's right after the block party. That's a great place to bring your bike and pedal through that 2 1/4 mile tunnel of sheer darkness.
Well, you don't need to wait for the event, though, right?
Well, no.
That's true.
But it's a good place to bike through. And that tunnel has a slight bend in it, so you can't stand at one end and see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. You have to move through.
It's pretty straight for the bulk of the tunnel, but there is that slight dogleg at one end. So.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt, that's a great place to bike. I can't believe it's been 2 years ago that we biked that. We the first year we went up there, we walked it, and it's a great experience on foot as well. But there are a lot of people on bikes, and we looked at each other and went, "We should have brought bikes." It's a long walk in the dark, and it's a much shorter bike walk, and it's always cool in there. So, should you take that particular bike trip, you might want to bring a light jacket or something, even in the heat of summer. But it's a great bike route. It's smooth and level and gravel because it used to be a railroad bed, and so that's a great one. I think Land Monkey knows about some other great biking trails around. Have you done some lately?
Absolutely, we have. We spent a lot of time last summer and this spring doing a whole bunch. There's some trails we'd strongly recommend for bike caching in the Metro Vancouver area. Those would include the LSCR, or Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve Geocaching Walk of Fame. It's located on the lower part of Mount Seymour. It's a wide, paved, undulating trail with beautiful scenery and quite a bit of shade.
Very nice. So, now, not to be sarcastic, but are bicycles allowed on the Walk of Fame? It is a bike trail.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's lots of people who bike on there.
Just making sure.
In fact, in my experience, you got to be a little bit careful biking on there because some people bike really, really fast on their way back down. So
wouldn't they go right past the geocaches?
Yeah, those are the people who aren't too worried about the geocaches. Another relatively shorter trail located in Steveston is called the Rat Series. And we'll throw the GC codes up, but the GC code for number 1 is GC4TA52. And that's, as I said, it's a shorter trail. It's in Richmond, so easy to get to. It's a flat paved trail. It's an easy ride with kids, but it's an easy ride for kids to do, but I'd be cautious because you do cross a couple of busy streets. So it's something to be thinking about.
Cash safely and bike safely.
Especially when you got kids.
Bike safely and cash often.
That's right.
There you go.
Awesome. Another one I want to throw out there, it's kind of become a rite of passage in Metro Vancouver geocaching. It's called the Boundary Bay Dike Trail. It has 55 traditionals, and along the way there's another 16 traditionals and 1 puzzle cache that pre-existed the trail. 72 potential smileys.
Wow.
We've talked about that trail in a previous show, but yeah, that one is just awesome.
Is that a doable thing in a day? Is that a weekend or a week, or is there multiple trips to get all the caches along that route?
So we biked it, and we did the 2-car. Well, we did 1 car, but Mr. Land Monkey biked the trail twice because I'm so nice to
Chivalry
Mrs.
is
Land
not
Monkey.
dead.
And yeah, that's right. To Donner and Mrs. Land Monkey, who just started from one end, and I drove the truck around to the other end and rode back. But yeah, ideally that one, if you can do 2 vehicles and ride your bikes, you can definitely get that done in a few hours. We did that on a day in June last year where we did 109 caches total in the day.
Wow.
So we did that trail. We threw the bikes on the truck, drove over to another trail, did another trail, and then went and walked in a small forested area and got it all done by dusk. So it's definitely possible on bike.
And it's along a dike, so there's a river there. Is that...
No, it's on the seashore. It's along the seashore.
Okay, cool. Which is different than a levee, because if it was a levee, you'd have to drive the Chevy, and then the river was dry.
But the levee was dry.
The levee was dry. So
good old boys drinking whiskey and rye. And we're talking about another geocache trail that these land monkeys have done. Nothing to do with drinking rye.
No, but it is along a river, along the Pitt River, and this is one of our absolute favorites that we've ridden. It has some just amazing scenery, and it's called the PRED series, or Pitt River Ecological Dike, I think. I have to double check that. But here, I'll throw out a GC code on that one. GC3BHX2. So we can throw that in the show notes maybe. But again, that's a fantastic one. Not a lot of shade on days like today or last weekend, so you want to make sure you bring in water and have the hat, etc. We talked about that in our Cache Safely episode. But the terrain is one thing to be aware on that trail. It changes from, it starts off as a nice gravel, then it gets a little rocky, and then it turns to grass by the end before it goes back into gravel. So you just need to be aware of that. It'll wear you out.
So a road bike may not be the choice of
no, you want
transport there.
Yeah, you want a mountain bike or a crossover for that trail. And then one more I'm going to throw in there, if we don't mind. Outside of the Lower Mainland in British Columbia, I would strongly recommend anybody who's really into trying some. And we talked about railway beds earlier, and we talked about the Ape Cache Trail. There are any sections of the Kettle Valley Railway in BC. They all have geocache trails along them, it seems. And there's a section very similar to that in Washington State that's looming on our list to do, and that's the Cascades Trail from Cedar Woolley to Concrete.
Oh, nice. Nice, yeah. There's some great trails. It sounds like there's some great stuff up in Vancouver, too. We got to get up there. I know another urban one I'm talking about down in Washington is the Burke Gilman Trail, running right down through Seattle and runs right past geocaching headquarters. So that's a great one there. Jumping back to the Ape Cache train tunnel, Ed Brelang commented online that he rode it in the dark last year. He says it's kind of hard to steer in a straight line when you have nothing to get your bearings by. But he did it in less than 2 hours. So that is another good point. If you do happen to use that particular trail, bring some lights with you. Bicycle headlights, flashlights, the headlamps, and something. Because, it is pitch black in that tunnel at times. So.
And back to Wit's End, favorite form of attachment is actually, in this case, we use bungee cords to hold those lights onto our handlebars.
Yeah.
Just something
and
quick.
The headlamps are nice too. So just little tip, if you happen to use a headlight, aim it down instead of level, so that when somebody asks you a question and you turn and look them in the eye, you don't blind them.
Always
Spoken from
appreciate it.
experience. And Brelang also commented that PRED is the Pit River East Dike series. I think you mentioned that, but
East Dike, right? Awesome. Thank you very much, Brelang.
So a key point in finding good cache biking trails, remember that the caches are only a tenth of a mile, or 528 feet, or what is it in Canadian?
161 meters.
60 meters. Okay, 61. Okay, I was wrong. But that seems like a long way on foot. It's not so long on bike. You know, you crank a couple pedals and boom, you're there. You get off, prop your bike, find the cache, get back on. So, you could spend more time getting on and off your bike than finding caches. Of course, when I was growing up and riding bikes around before we could drive cars and all, we did a lot of stuff just by standing on one side on the pedals. So if you're only going a tenth of a mile, use it like a big scooter. But, they're close together, so plan accordingly.
I think that's a really good point. And let's take a minute just to talk about security when leaving your bikes to grab that cache. If you have multiple devices attached to your bike, you're going to want to take those with you, or leave a team member behind to guard your ride or something like that.
Very true. No one wants to lose that GPSR or smartphone whilst rummaging in the shrubberies.
No.
In the shrubbery. On that note, an important etiquette tip when bike caching is to pull those bikes to the side of the pathway or the road as far as you can when you get off and you're looking for that cache. Wit's End, any other tips?
Well, just be mindful of others using the pathways, the walkways, the bikeways, where you park bikes. As a good general rule of thumb, whether you're biking, caching, or just going through life on a daily basis, be considerate of others. That's it in a nutshell. I see so many people that they don't necessarily mean to be rude or disrespectful, but they just don't think about others. And I've seen people stop right in the middle of a busy road to look at a map, talk to each other, ask a question, take a phone call, and just look around and be observant. Have your head on a swivel and be aware of your surroundings and be considerate of others.
It's awesome. I think it always behooves geocachers to do what we can to make sure we maintain a positive reputation.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. That's a really good tip. So that's it. We're going to wrap up this show in the 20-minute time frame.
Nice.
For all of our listeners,
because
there's a few of them out there.
We've recently had confirmation that there is officially more than one. And I'll tell you, listeners, we've got some great shows coming up in the next few weeks. Next Thursday, we'll be discussing connecting with other geocachers through events, social media, and local geocaching associations. And then on the 31st of July, we'll be talking with Wet Coaster once again and talking to him about ingress.
That's right.
Nice.
So I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this show. And I got no sound at all. Here we go. Don't forget you can be part of the show. Call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, correction, question, any time of the day or night. Of course, you can always email us, feedback@cachingnw.com. Don't forget to visit cachingnw.com for show notes on this show and more about any of the Caching in the Northwest podcast. Your support helps keep this show and quality shows just like it coming. So if you like this show, click the PayPal link on the website. The show's licensed under Creative Commons Attributions 3.0 license, copyright 2014, by me right here, Chris Umpanello. Thanks, folks. Have a good night.
Au revoir.
Night, guys. Wow, you're so international.
Geocaching Olympics, and I first read that as a mustache. Don't pull a mustache. Hey, we are the only podcast where all the hosts have facial hair. Geocaching podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That just says it right there.
The Facial Hair Podcast. It's a geocaching must cache.
Mustache. Oh, I like that.
There you go.
That is awesome.
The Milestones event is also on Brelang's birthday.
Yes,
Well,
it
happy
is.
birthday to you. So he must be having a birthday within the next 2 weeks.
Yes, he is.
Land
Apparently.
Monkey is a caching in the Northwest, 518. Brelang today was 518. As a caching in the Northwest birthday gift to Brelang, will you hide a cache? A tribute cache in his honor.
Oh, that sounds good.
I can do that for us.
See, it's so easy when I tell other people to do it. or at least put a Munzie out at the event.
I don't do the Munzies.
Oh, never mind then. That's right. You're not yet Munzier.
A what? What are you saying? What's the M word?
The M word, yeah. I think I've decided that I'm almost a geocaching purist, but I do enjoy cider.
Okay. Is that Apple?
No, I use it on an Android device. Smart Alec.
Good one. So I went to a family event on Saturday, and there was a family friend that was in that flew their plane in from Colorado.
Cool.
And, what city do you know in Colorado?
Denver.
Yeah, there's another one. Big one if you're associated with
Boulder.
beer.
Golden.
Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh.
That's where
There you go.
Anheuser-Busch is located.
Okay.
And they were saying, they own a small brewery and restaurant there. And they said the next big thing, I said, well, wine is really taking off. Yeah, that's starting to fade. The next big thing is cider.
That's interesting. So here we go. Cider. There's a cidery on Vancouver Island
Mm-hmm.
that I just saw something on, it was either Google, it had to be Google Plus, this past week, where this cidery has gone and hidden 24 bottles, empty but sealed bottles with a clue or something in it across Vancouver Island, and they're going to be tweeting out hints where to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bring the sealed bottle with the magic word or whatever it is inside it back to their cidery, you win a prize.
Nice. You gonna go look? I mean, geocachers got that nailed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be keeping my eye on it because we are gonna be making a trip soon in the next few weeks over to the island. So if it works out, I'll see what I can do. But it's not super quick or easy for people to get from the mainland to Vancouver Island. It's quite a ferry ride. All right.
Well, Wet Coasters, when he gets to stay home, he'll be working on the Muncie map and growing the map in the lower mainland.
Great. Sorry, Gary. Just giving you a hard time. I don't know. I tried.
What?
I just can't get into Muncie. I don't know. I tried it out. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's not my thing either.
I kind of there. That's one of the reasons we haven't done a Muncie show.
Well, we did.
One
If
of
you
the
go
reasons.
back, to the
that's
early
true.
episodes of
Early episodes.
Caching
you're
in
right.
Northwest, we actually did an interview with one of the founders of Muncie on the podcast, and I don't know. I just lost interest.
It's yeah. And,
I don't bash it.
Muncie is kind of like geocaching. You don't have to go out and find every one, just the ones that interest you.
Yeah, I don't criticize it, and I don't knock people that do it. It's just not my thing.
I found a Muncie yesterday. It was in an area. My son was swimming, and I looked up and I go, well, there's a Muncie. I should just capture it.
I kind of lost interest about the time I got a new phone, and I never did get around to even loading the app on this phone that I'm currently using. And I was on a trip a month or two, I don't know, a few months back, and I was out in the city. I think it was on my Washington, D.C. trip. And I was walking by and I look at that, there's a Muncie right there in the wild. And I said, okay, I found it.
Did
That
you
was
sign
good
it?
enough for me. No, didn't sign it, didn't scan it, didn't do anything with it. I just go, oh look, Munzie, next.
You should sign it. There, I found this Munzie.
Sign the log across the QR code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to write in the little squares.
See, that's why I can't get into it. I don't have that good a penmanship.
Oh, you got to get a sharp point, a fine point pen. That's the key there. Don't use the big Sharpie or the chisel tip.
Not to put a fine point on it.
Dun-dun-dun.
It is a good photo of me you found today, by the way. I don't know where you found that old photo of me, but
Oh, you found it, did you?
I remember posing for that, yes.
Share that one, Jim.
Let's see, hang on.
Brelang says we did spend a fair bit of airtime in Munzie back in the good old days. And that's true. When it was first out, we were excited for it.
Yeah, it was cool.
I had a new heat pump put in today. It was quite exciting.
Yeah, how's it working?
It's working. I've got air moving where I've never had air moving before.
What about your house?
Oh, the house is fine too.
Okay.
But as a result, the garage door or I have a basement with a access out to the street, so it's a sunken basement garage door thing that was left open all day today. So they could come and go.
Nice.
I've got flies in here now.
Oh.
Yeah, there's bugs in my garage here because I have the door open, and they, for some reason, are really attracted to the bright lights right here at my podcast
I
studio.
can't figure out why.
There's a photo for you.
Oh wow, that is you.
Yeah, see?
Love it.
How do you change a tire on a wheel that big?
Very carefully.
Okay. Can you imagine adjusting those spokes? There's like 18,000 of them.
How many bike cachers does it take?
Well, I mentioned that my brother was here and we worked on my bike. I didn't tell you how long we worked on my bike.
You did say it took a while to.
It took a long time. Let's do this and adjusting lubricating the cable guides at the bottom of the bike really was the key. You go, oh yeah, do this. Okay, and it made a difference. So
That's interesting because that's not something people would normally think of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The cable guides. So I think that was a really good piece of feedback, Jim, to throw in there earlier.
Well, I do what I can.
Coaster says I find that Munzie is more of an urban game and caching more in parks and outside of cities. That's really true. Because you've got to have that cell coverage. Well, you don't have to now. You can do offline mode.
Yeah, now you don't. But I remember the very first Munzie we found was hidden by somebody that started geocaching because it was rolled up and shoved in a tube and hanging from a tree, just like a geocache. It was like, well, this is just geocaching. You just scan the code instead of send the log. But yeah.
That's interesting what Gary said because I was listening to, and I have to apologize because it was either the geocaching podcast or it was a geocaching podcast. It was Daryl. I was just trying to remember which show it was, but it was a geocaching podcast because Stevens ad infinitum was on there. And he was talking about he downloaded a ton of stats and did some checking on cache size changes over the years since the introduction of micros, etc. And that there's been a huge increase in micros and smalls, which would imply to me that those are the kind of caches generally you'd be hiding in urban hides.
Yeah, right.
No.
I'm
Chopsticks.
listening.
Chopsticks.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Miyagi. Wax on, wax off.
Wax off.
That's all I got in my hand. Need the fly swatter. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that's awesome.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can. It sounds pretty cool. So I thought, well, that's interesting then, comparing that against what Gary was saying of Munzie being a more urban game. It certainly doesn't mean you can't use similar spaces, right? There's no real interaction between the games in that sense.
No, there's no interaction, but I've heard anecdotally that if you mention that you have a Munzie in your cache on the 800-pound gorilla website, they will archive that cache.
Yeah, they don't like Munzie.
No. Ironically, what's around the geocaching headquarters but millions of virtual Munzies?
Yeah, I suspect that's not actually irony.
Yeah, probably not. Hey, hinging on something that you commented on a few minutes ago, I just had to comment that this particular fellow in the so artfully crafted logo has no facial hair.
Oh. Uh-oh.
It's not one of us.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I sense a revision is on its way.
Give him a Duck Dynasty beard.
Ooh.
He's got the long neck for it.
I'll start with that.
There you go.
Ooh.
It's very Guy Fawkes.
Yeah, I see that.
A Van Dyke is what they call that.
Yeah.
Yes. That is what they call that. You are correct. You, sir, are correct.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Oh, but it's something else.
That was a fun show when it was first on.
Yeah.
It was. It was. I just liked how brusque she was about it.
Yeah.
That was part of the entertainment value, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a game show, I can't remember, where if you got an answer wrong, you were dropped through the floor. It didn't last long.
It's like Hangman?
Yeah. It I don't think I ever watched a full episode. It was just interesting. Oh, look, they really do drop the floor out from underneath them.
Yeah.
There they go. I'm sorry, you got it wrong. Kind of like Monty Python.
Python, yeah. What's your favorite color?
Blue. No, red. Ah!
I like the fish slapping dance from Monty Python.
Oh, we just listened to the spam bit.
What's the average speed? What's the average airspeed of a swallow?
Laden or
Unladen
unladen?
swallow. Yeah, unladen swallow. African or European?
Well, I don't know that.
Wah!
It's not a question of what he grips it.
We're so helpful.
Brian Lang says your cashier there has no nose either. He's Voldemort wearing a hat.
How'd you get? I didn't get an update yet. I don't know if he said that.
That's why he's so good at finding the caches. He uses dark magic.
It's very strange. You commented on things that I hadn't seen pop up here yet, and now it's the other way. So I think it's very sporadic as they update.
I think we're just on Google's bad list.
That could be.
We played too much of
too much Queen. Oh, Queen for the royalty. It's the drama Queen.
There you go. No
we
drama.
talked about Queen.
No, there are lots of the Geo Woodstock this year. There's Voldemort.
There you go.
Yes, there were, and a lot of those virtual Munzies were Ronald McDonald House, and they have since passed.
Right.
Well, wait, that was probably
Wait.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
are not there any longer.
They've disappeared.
Okay, so if anybody's still out there, go back and listen to Caching in the Northwest episode 52, where we described the Ronald McDonald House in detail.
Before we expired or disappeared.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, one of you two gentlemen, I need to get you to email me your postal mailing address.
Okay.
No.
Probably easier if we just give you our work address that we share, and more likely for packages to show up there.
Because
Perfect.
we spend days there, and this home I just call my my investment property. It's a place
Sure.
I don't spend a lot of time at.
Awesome. Good stuff. So, yeah, you can send me that. That'd be awesome if you could do that.
I'll do that.
I've got a little something for you.
Oh. I can hardly wait.
Excellent. Speaking of hardly wait, next Thursday is going to be a busy night. Well, I guess it'll be normal for the bad cop, but it'll be a busy night for me. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
I hit enter and I was thinking, I'll go to the next line. No, it sent it.
I get it in 2 parts. That's helpful.
There you
go. Joining you and Daryl, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be awesome.
Brian says, I just finished listening to all your episodes. I'm not going to go back and listen again.
Good call. I don't go back and listen again either.
I have never listened to an episode of this podcast, so I don't intend to start now.
Hey, you're not supposed to say that out loud.
Easy. No,
I don't want to hear myself.
Before I joined the podcast, I did listen to all the old episodes. Got caught up, and some of them were really, really long.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah, back then we could go forever.
We had no standards. Now that you're here, we have standards.
Okay. I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but...
Hey, I didn't say we adhered to them. We just have them. That's entirely different.
Boy, you really got to watch when you're typing. Just noticed something I did. Just caught it just before I hit enter. You really have to watch when you're typing where you hit the space bar, because the chat message I just sent you guys accidentally started with the word "go." The space was moved over.
Oh, I've done that.
Whoops, that's not what I want to say.
That's a typo I do quite often. That and omitting the R from T-shirt.
That's not a typo at that point. Thanks, Wet Coaster. He says, I download, but I don't listen. You're running for political office, aren't you?
He just collects them.
Bandwidth.
He's a collector. He wants to have them unopened.
Oh, so there you go.
Oh,
so
that's
they're more
it.
valuable.
Oh.
Mint in box.
Mint in box,
That's right.
yes.
They're mint in folder there.
New old stock there.
Never been listened to. All the bits are in the perfect order. He's lined them up.
All the
I
bits
put
are
all the
still in
ones
bucket.
and then all the zeros and.
Mind your P's and Q's.
Yes, our podcast has a lot of zeros.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, and that's just among the hosts.
Yeah. Bump. Yeah, the ones all come from our listeners.
Especially if they +1 the podcast.
Ah.
Apparently we +0 the podcast.
Well, I would always encourage everyone to +1 the podcast because it's awesome.
You know, we have fun. I hope somebody else gets something out of it.
I hope so, because, yeah.
It's kind of the
Otherwise
purpose of doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not just, us
To
four
hear
no more.
ourselves.
Okay, well, first of all, that's not right, and second of all, that's not right.
As much as I love the sound of my own voice.
How do you know you don't listen to the podcast?
Yeah.
Yes, but he had Land Monkey's geocaching adventures.
There you go.
There you go. Gary says, I'll get you to sign them at the block party.
Awesome.
So I can officially confirm that I will not be at the block party this year. So we finally just got our vacation schedule sorted out, and I will not be able to make it to the block party.
That's a shame.
Okay,
It
I'm
is-
offended.
It is a shame, but we will be enjoying some time with our family before our teenagers are too old to enjoy time with our family.
Too
I
late
can-
if they're teenagers.
Yeah.
No, that's
I
fine.
can, yeah, I can dig it.
And Jim, you can't be offended because it's our turn to go up to Canada. He's come down to the States, to America.
That's right.
America.
And we've got at least Wet Coaster and Brelang who are also waiting for you guys to come up here now. So
Okay.
we're-
Someday we'll get a listener in the U.S., but
it's definitely the Canadian Revolution here lately. We've got
the Canadian contingent.
got a pretty strong presence here. I'm quite impressed with the local Metro Van and Alberta geocachers really stepping it up
Yeah.
and filling up the American listeners.
Should we just rename it to Caching in the Northwest Territories?
Yeah. May just have to go that way, yeah.
No. Yeah, and Wet Coaster, it isn't because you said you were going to be at the block party that I'm not going. don't take it for yourself.
Well, it's actually until he mentioned it, you didn't say you were or were not.
Yeah, well, that's because we just finally sorted out Mrs. Land Monkey's vacation time this week, so it's been a challenge.
I bet.
But
Awesome.
we're there.
Well, enjoy your time. Family's important.
Family comes first, without a doubt.
Yep. No, it'll be good. It's unfortunate to miss the block party, but we'll plan to be there for next year.
They're going to have another one next year.
Yeah, that's my understanding. On the topic of the block party, I don't know if it's breaking news, but they have made the short list for the 16 finalists for the Geocaching International Film Festival.
Nice.
I know that because I didn't make the short list, so I got the email. But it was cool because I actually got to email back and forth a little bit with Reed, the vlogger for I'll call her the vlogger, the cinematographer for geocaching.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
Videographer.
Videographer. There you go. And she gave me some great constructive feedback on how we can make future submissions a little better. I over-serioused the submission. So I think that's the best made-up word I can come up with to explain.
It's not a verb.
But so we tried for the first time this year to get a submission in. Didn't quite make it, but got some really great constructive feedback. And while we haven't been able to see any of the content from the 16 finalists, I did see the names and where they're from. And it looks like there's going to be some really good content again this year if I can just make assessment internationally. Cool. There's a huge number of countries. There is about 8 or 9 different countries all represented in the 16 finalists.
Wow.
It was awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be some really cool stuff.
Very
nice. Cool. I'll have to see if I can talk to Eric.
And here I thought the criticism was just less Jay, more Laura.
Yeah. Well, that's the standard criticism. That has nothing to do with anything else. Actually, I tried to make sure there was less Land Monkey and more Catapult, Jeff Iron Maiden, and Mrs. Land Monkey in the video, but you get better at stuff as you practice.
Absolutely.
I posted the interview.
We're going to get this podcast right one day.
Eventually.
Someday. You never know.
I posted the interview on YouTube that I did down in Florida with the Space Coast Geocaching.
I watched that today.
All 9 minutes, because that's a long one. Oh, thank you.
And it was done very well. I commented on Google+.
I did see that. Actually, you're right. I forgot.
And, I think I said 3 words. But I commented.
That is true. Thank you very much for doing that. It is enormously appreciated.
I will have to go and look it up because I've been wanting to see that. If you have another 9 or 10 minutes or so and you want to watch a video, have you watched American Ninja Warriors at all?
Of course he's not. He's Canadian.
You mean the TV show, like the contest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, we have watched that a few times. That's insane.
There was a clip that hit USA Today this morning when I was surfing the news on the iPad that up until this point, no woman has ever completed the course. And there was a woman that completed the course, and she's amazing. And she's 5 foot nothing and 100 pounds.
I saw that. I saw that when that episode aired. I caught that one. That was
she's amazing.
She is amazing. You want to talk upper body strength? I mean, any of those athletes, and they are athletes on that program.
Oh, without a doubt.
Have insane upper body strength to do some of the peg one that they have to do, or the one where they have what they call it, the salmon ladder.
Yeah.
Where they oh my goodness,
jump up from nothing.
I know, it's insane. Oh, that's cool.
It took her several minutes, but she was great. Yeah.
I can't believe she did the curved wall at 5-0.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is.
First time.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it was an amazing run. Now, that's one thing that my family and I enjoy. I want to skip all the bios and just watch
Yeah.
the runs.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
wife goes, no, that's the interesting part. Okay. So we have to watch all hour.
Remember
Sometimes
that
they're 2
key
hours
phrase.
long.
Remember that key phrase in your life.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Happy wife. Happy life.
That
That's
that phrase has gotten me this far in life. We're married 23 years because of Yes, dear.
23. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's good.
The average marriage in America, I think, lasts about 9 months. So we've beaten the odds.
9 months?
I mean,
Seriously? Is that actually a statistic, or are we just kind of...
I think it's pretty close.
Well, you know, 85% of statistics are made up on the spot.
What's the Mark Twain? Lies, damn lies, and statistics?
That's right. Everybody talks about the weather and nobody does anything about it.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock. This has been a very long streaming content.
Yeah, we may have kept the podcast 20 minutes, but we yapped for another half an hour anyway.
Well, that's okay.
So
Okay.
we're going to give people their money's worth. Or not. We'll leave that up to our viewers to decide. So there you go. Survey. What do you want us to talk about when the show ends? Well, I guess this is still the show. What do we call this? The after show? Post show?
Yeah, the Chicago podcast, when it was on, used to call this the afterbirth.
Oh, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, Scott's probably a great guy, but yeah, I roll a slightly different way.
Okay, so here's divorces. Divorce rates in the U.S. Rate per wait. That's the rates. That doesn't help.
Are we going to have to pass special laws now to allow gay divorce?
No, they have to stay married.
Let's just not get into it on our podcast. Oh dear.
Let's see.
Something to-
If a marriage fails, a couple goes through. One estimate is that the probability that a given marriage would end in divorce after 5 years was 20%. In 2005, divorce rates were 4 times that in 1955. Okay, marriages that end in divorce last for a median of 8 years for both men and women.
That's more than 9 months. Just saying.
Okay.
Gary says Canadian marriage length average is 14.2 years.
That's just the difference in the metric system.
Gary, I hope that you're right. That's at least because if that's an average, then that's all right.
There you go.
I can work with that number. We're us land monkeys just hit 20 years in April.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Whitsand, you guys must have a few number of years under the belt there.
Yeah, this past May was 26 for us. So.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Look at us old mustached married guys,
there
eh?
you go.
Wow. Okay, so first marriages, 41% end in divorce. Second marriage is 60%. Third marriage is 73%.
Huh.
There's 100 divorces per hour.
That's interesting, the repeat marriage divorce statistic. I guess it just makes the point that people don't learn.
Yeah, if you get out once, you'll get out again, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, or I guess it's people do learn. It's learned behavior.
Yeah. They learned that Don't want to commit.
I want to know this information. I don't know why. It's just, So if your parents are happily married, your risk of divorce decreases by 14%. Living together prior to getting married can increase the chance of getting divorced by as much as 40%.
Wow.
If you attended college, your risk of divorce decreases by 13%.
Smart people don't divorce. I don't know. Hey, we got a little note here from Gary from Wet Coaster. He says the winters are colder up here. I think that has something to do with why people stay married. He says, but he says,
I just need the warmth.
Him and Mrs. Wet Coaster hit 30 years next April.
Nice.
Wow, impressive.
That is
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Very good.
Cool. So yeah, okay. So let's settle on after show as what
After
we'll call
show.
this content, and
This is the show after the show.
and let's throw a survey out. Let's what do people want to hear us talk about in the after show?
That's right. Do you want us to talk more geocaching? Do you want us to talk personal? Do you just want us to be silly and throw out, land monkey references?
Which is what we're going
Like
to do anyways.
We throw out land monkey references like poop.
Do you want us to just taste test food with sriracha sauce?
Ooh.
No,
You know what that makes? That makes
I don't
everything
want
better.
us to do that.
And if you know what I'm referring to, you've enjoyed another podcast I enjoy. Or YouTube show, anyway.
YouTube.
Yeah.
It's mythical.
Good mythical morning.
Or Land Monkey can play his guitar.
Yes.
There he goes.
Ooh, he's got the Van Dyke going.
Yes, he
Sporting
does.
the Van Dyke. I like it. That's awesome. There you go. Oh, doorbell. I gotta go. And for anybody who stayed on the show long enough, you get to see what my T-shirt says tonight. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so there you go. That's our. Wow, that's. Start and end with the Chris Hadfield impersonation. Nice.
Is that Caching in Northwest Inception there?
There's a good look.
It's bad. Bad cop.
Ah, much better. Now he's the
Yeah.
good bad cop.
Wait.
Awesome.
Royalty.
Now who's the drama queen?
Wow, that's going away then. I'm just joking around here.
Yes, you are.
It's amazing to me. A web app can keep up with me.
That is pretty cool. It's interesting technology. Oh, speaking of interesting technology, when we were at the FTF party before the show, ran into a cacher. This is the first time I had a chance to meet him in person. Chronix is his caching name, and he's an Android developer, and he gave us the heads up that he has a project that is possibly launching very soon, and that he's actually in discussions with geocaching.com. Not sure if anything will happen with it or not, but that it's going to very nice. It's going to wow, this is really hard to concentrate when you're doing that. The app is going to combine that is strange. The app is going to it's a geocaching or a geolocation app, and it's going to combine geolocation gaming with what's the term? Not virtual reality. When you overlay things on your screen,
reality.
augmented reality. It's gonna integrate augmented reality into geolocation gaming. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out.
Very cool.
Well,
So
that sounds like Ingress.
similar, possibly. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what comes. So that's all I know right now. He did mention the name of the app, and it slipped my mind, so I'm going to email him and get it. Once it goes live, I'll post it, and then we can
Please do.
see what it is.
That would be cool. Gentlemen, I'm going to stop this broadcast.
All
Okay.
right. Goodbye, viewers. It has been wonderful to spend time with you once again.